Jake has now given his first interview from behind bars, and I don't know what to make of it. Usually, when you go into these interviews, when you decide to read one of these interviews, you do so thinking that you're going to learn more about the case. But somehow, some way, after reading this interview, I feel like I know less about the case than before I read the interview. So it had the opposite effect on me. But I want to go ahead and dive right into it so you guys can see the type of stuff that Jake is saying. And what Jake says in this interview, it totally contradicts his actions that we're seeing play out day by day. But hey, let's just go ahead and dive right in. Jake said in a jailhouse interview on Wednesday, August 27th, that Riverside County District Attorney Mike Hestron's assertion that Haro's missing 7-month-old son was the victim of long-term abuse was not true at all. But Haro declined to discuss what role, if any, he played in Emmanuel's disappearance. Haro, aged 32, and his wife, Rebecca, 41, were charged with murder and filing a false police report. Jake said little else about the case in the interview with a Southern California News Group reporter via video hookup at the Larry D. Smith Correctional Facility in Banning. Haro would not say whether he led authorities to the Moreno Valley Badlands on Sunday, August 24th, where he was spotted with investigators. He did say he has been completely cooperative with investigators, though. I want to talk about it, but I can't, said Jake, referring to instructions from his attorney. I was told, do not do press, or don't do no press. Haro wore a red jail jumpsuit, indicating that he is in segregated housing for his protection. I want to go ahead and pause right there. So Jake would not come out and directly acknowledge that, yeah, he was helping investigators on Sunday, but he said he is cooperating with investigators. I think there's a reason why Jake doesn't want to speak too much about him being out there on the side of the road, because you'll learn later on in this interview that he's speaking very highly of Rebecca still. I don't think he wants Rebecca to know that he was on the side of that highway. I don't think he wants her to figure out in any way. It's also stated here that Jake is in segregated housing for his own protection. And Jake himself says that he has no contact with other inmates. That sticks out because it was reported by Brian Enton that Jake had confessed to killing Emmanuel to a fake undercover inmate. Jake right here says that he has no contact with other inmates. He's in protective custody. He is totally separated from everyone else. So that really stuck out to me in this interview. But let's go ahead and keep it moving. He said he had no contact with other inmates. Haro sometimes wiped his face with a white cloth. His eyes appeared to be red. Haro said he attended Banning High, where he played tight end and linebacker on the football team. During the 45-minute interview, Haro said that the couple cares about Emmanuel. They attempted to schedule several appointments to inoculate the boy, but one hospital was continually out of vaccines, the dad said. They eventually switched hospitals and had an October 2nd appointment to get Emmanuel his shots. I want to pause right here once again. For whatever reason, he's still giving this excuse about Emmanuel, not having his shots. He's still running that excuse out there, even in this interview. And that tells me that there's a reason why we keep hearing this, oh, Emmanuel didn't have his shots. He's still running with that lie. Because, look, I believe that most likely Jake and Rebecca hid Emmanuel from other family members because Emmanuel was getting hurt at home. Law enforcement said today that they believe that is the case as well. They believe there was a long history, and Emmanuel's only like 7 months old, but a long history in his short lifespan, a long history of Emmanuel getting hurt at home. Jake denies it. And Jake is still throwing, oh yeah, he didn't have his shots. That's why he didn't go to the hospital. That's why he didn't see grandma. No. They're still trying, to float that excuse out there. And now, as I'm getting further in this interview, the more confused I'm getting because we saw Jake on the side of the road. Jake did not have to be out there. Investigators and law enforcement cannot force Jake to go out there. He cooperated by going out there. And when I say he's cooperating, that doesn't mean he's telling them the truth. That means that he's talking. He's not just refusing to talk to police. Oh, you could talk to my lawyer. No, he's cooperating on some level. But in this interview, it seems like he's not cooperating. In this interview, it seems like he's sticking to his original story. But we know he's not, because if he was, he wouldn't be out there on the side of that road. So what Jake is saying in this interview and what he's doing behind the scenes is two different things. And that's the type of person Jake is. Some of the people who used to work with Jake thought that he was funny and cool. They didn't know that behind the scenes, he's beating people up at home. He's beating up babies. So, whatever he says in this interview, we got to remember, he's moving differently behind the scenes. He's aware that there's a possibility that somehow, some way, maybe Rebecca will see this interview. I don't know. But it's really weird. It's throwing me off. But let's go forward again. Rebecca Haro claimed that Emmanuel was kidnapped by a man she said knocked her unconscious. We know those details. Jake talked at length about his child cruelty conviction in 2023, which he said prompted investigators to unfairly assume that he killed Emmanuel. Jake said he accidentally dropped baby daughter on a sink divider while bathing her, but she appeared uninjured. However, the girl was later found to have broken bones and other serious injuries after Haro's wife at the time, Vanessa, woke up in the middle of the night. She is now bedridden, the district attorney said on Wednesday. Both the husband and the wife made plea deals with the judge over the objection of the district attorney's office. He received 180 days in the sheriff's work release program and was handed a suspended 4-year prison sentence and ordered to attend a child abuser treatment program. Jake said Wednesday that the sentence was fair. He said he wanted to take the case to trial, but I pled guilty because I didn't have the money to go to trial. The judge said nobody would believe my side of the story. Somehow they magically convinced me to take this damn plea deal. I was sick of court. The judge knows I didn't do it. They just railroaded me. I was the fall guy. Let's pause. So here we have Jake in jail for the murder of Emmanuel. Yet he's still making excuses for what happened to his other kid that he almost killed. No accountability at all. He thinks that serving 1 day in jail and getting a 180-day suspended sentence, which basically means nothing, you can go home and do whatever the hell you want, try not to get in trouble for a couple of months, he thinks that was fair. Then he also says that he was railroaded. He was the fall guy. So he's still not accepting accountability for what he did in the past. And because proper punishment wasn't served out and dished out to Jake, he thinks he can get away with it again. But he's not getting away with it this time. Too many eyes on this case for him to get away with it this time. And that's why it's important for there to be eyes on cases like this one. But let's go forward. This guy is freaking ridiculous. Jake was hopeful on Wednesday that enough money could be raised, generally 10% of the bail, to free Rebecca, who he wed 3 years ago. Rebecca is innocent, Jake said. The media is killing her. She is a beautiful woman. She loves her kids. She is being held at the Robert Presley Detention Center in Riverside. On Tuesday, after the Haros appeared in court, separated from one another, Jake Haro said he encountered her after getting off an elevator. I'm trying to shout to her, I love you, Jake said. Then the deputy shoved me to the ground. He launched me like a rag doll. Jake said he re-injured a shoulder. I hope he did. The sheriff's department on Wednesday declined to comment on that account. This investigation will be ongoing for some time, Lieutenant Vickers said in an email. We are not going to comment on statements made by the suspect nor provide any details about the investigation. Jake also talked about social media posts from the public that have been highly critical of Jake and Rebecca. God is with us, he said. The allegations are horrendous, so of course people are going to be riled up. Jake was asked what he would say to Emmanuel if he could talk to his boy. Jake replied, I love you, buddy. So yeah, very interesting. And like I said, after reading this interview, I feel like I know less about the case than I did before going into the interview. Because I've been assuming, through Jake's actions, that Jake has totally flipped on Rebecca. I told you guys that I believed that was going to happen. Jake already has a history of doing that. However, in this interview, he's talking about, Rebecca is innocent, Rebecca is beautiful, Rebecca loves her kids, I hope Rebecca gets bonded out, yada, yada, yada. So it's making me question, did Jake really turn on Rebecca? Maybe he didn't. I think the fact that he was out there with law enforcement, that lets us know he's talking, but maybe he isn't turning on Rebecca. Or, as I was saying earlier, I think Jake's a very shady dude. Somehow, some way, he convinces these women to be with him, even though they know he has a history of hurting kids, and then he winds up hurting another kid. I think he's sweet-talking right now, because he knows this is going out there to the media. This is something that Rebecca may hear about, may learn about, may read one day. So he's being careful not to say anything, not to show his hand in this interview. What he's saying in this interview and what's going on behind the scenes, I believe is totally different. I believe it's totally different for sure. I mean, we all saw both of them in court just yesterday, and it was clear that Jake was not trying to even look in Rebecca's direction. Rebecca was looking at him, glancing over at him over and over again with the puppy dog eyes, looking for something, looking for some reassurance or something, and Jake gave her nothing. Yet he wants to tell, the interview, he wants to tell the media, well, after court, I wanted to say I love you, Rebecca, but then I got thrown to the ground. And he's making himself out to be a victim. And remember I told you guys that? When law enforcement drug him out of his house and he was all limping and acting like he couldn't walk barefooted, I told you this is the type of guy he is. And once again, I got thrown to the ground, oh my God. I don't think that he was trying to tell Rebecca that he loves her, or he was trying to talk to her when they got off the elevator. If he really wanted to talk to Rebecca or look at Rebecca, he could have done so in court. He purposely did not. So I think he's floating out a fake story. Just in case Rebecca sees this, hey Rebecca, I know I didn't look at you in court. I know I'm out here on the side of the road talking to law enforcement, but hey, I did try to tell you I love you. You just didn't hear me because they threw me on the ground and hurt my shoulder. So now he's like wanting us to feel bad that his shoulder hurts. What about your daughter, who you basically left a vegetable after you got through with her? If only all she had to deal with was shoulder pain. What about Emmanuel? If only all Emmanuel had to deal with is shoulder pain, yet in this interview we got to hear about your shoulder pain, about your days as a tight end, playing football in high school. No one gives a damn, dude. No one gives a damn at all. And no one is buying your bogus BS. And it's crazy to me that he's still trying to win over people in the media while obviously doing something different with law enforcement behind the scenes. So I don't know who this guy is fooling or who this guy think he's fooling. He's trying to fool us and he's trying to fool Rebecca, if you ask me. But you guys let me know what you think about all of this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next video.